Struan Stevenson, Conservative MEP for Scotland. What is this issue when it comes to bracken in Scotland?
Well, Scotland has one of the biggest problems with bracken probably of any member state in the whole of the EU. I mean, we've got moorlands absolutely covered in bracken, but they're important grazing areas, particularly for sheep in the hill and upland areas and the mountain areas of Scotland. So, if you take away this very important control agent, Azulox, and ban it, which the Commission are thinking about doing, if it's banned altogether, bracken will not then be controllable, and it will cover all the grass, all the grazing. It will become a hotbed then for parasites, for ticks, which are not only going to affect animals and animal welfare, but will affect humans who like walking and hill walking in those areas. So, this would be a bit of a catastrophe, not only for farmers, because Azulox, it's one of the few control agents and it's the cheapest one. I mean, it's the most cost-effective one. If that's banned altogether, we could see some of our upland areas no-go areas for humans and livestock, and that would be really disastrous.
And where is this threat of a ban actually coming from?
Well, the European Food Safety Authority said that Azulox has been used on occasion in other countries on spinach, and they say that this has a toxic residue on spinach. So they've said to the European Commission, we think you should ban it. And now the Standing Committee on Animal Health is looking at this issue on Thursday and Friday this week. And there's a possibility that they may say, oh, well, if it's getting into the food chain, we better ban it. That kind of disproportionate ban would really be, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It would be over the top. If it has a toxic impact on the food chain, okay, ban it for use on spinach or on food crops. But for heaven's sake, don't ban it for use on bracken, when Scotland will be the biggest loser. And heaven knows our hill and upland farmers are suffering enough as it is.
So what are you actually trying to do to raise your concern? I think you've joined forces with your Liberal Democrat counterpart, George Lyon. What exactly have you done?
This is the coalition in action. We've jointly written a letter to Commissioner Daly, who's the Commissioner for Health and Consumer Affairs. He could go to the Standing Committee and tell them, please only consider banning this for use on food crops, not on bracken and docks and other weeds where it's not going to get into the food chain. And that's what we've written asking him to do, and I hope he pays some heed to our letter.
And I mean, in terms of farmers in those already quite difficult farming areas in Scotland, I mean, just how much more difficult would this ban make their lives?
Well, they have little enough grazing as it is in these difficult hilly and mountainous areas. If you allow uncontrolled growth of bracken covering all of these areas, drowning out, smothering the grass, then, there's no grazing left for the sheep. It becomes this parasitic hotbed. Ticks are going to infect the sheep. That's going to be more costly. It's going to have animal welfare implications. The farmers are going to have to use more chemicals to treat the sheep for ticks. Plus, as I said, the tourist industry will be affected. People will not be able to walk or take their dogs in these areas. The dogs will be attacked by ticks. So, this altogether is something that has to be carefully thought through, and not just the knee-jerk reaction because the European Food Safety Authority said it might have an impact on spinach.